Hey everyone, this is Gunjan. I'm a mom to a 2-year-old, a content creator, a recipe curator, and I'm also a certified positive parenting coach. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about motherhood, my experiences through motherhood, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. This is a safe, judgment free space, so do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I also have an Instagram Tickle Tales where I share a lot of baby friendly recipes, some baby led weaning tips, and you get an insight into my day to day motherhood journey. So do check that out as well. Today, I'm talking about one of the most highly requested videos on my page, which is how I deal with a tantrum. Every 2-year-old is going to tantrum. Every child is going to have tantrums. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen any exceptions. Okay. If your child is having a lot of tantrums, first thing to know is that you're not alone. All of us are dealing with it. All children are going to tantrum, and it is developmentally normal for children to tantrum. It is absolutely normal and expected, especially after their first birthday, after 18 months of age. You'll see that the tantrums suddenly go up, and all parents just go crazy like, oh my god, what is wrong with my child? What is wrong with my precious, perfect child? They were not like this yesterday, and today all hell has broken loose over something so minute like a banana that they wanted unpeeled, but you peeled and gave them. So, you know what I mean? I talk to so many parents on a daily basis. It's literally my job. And I can tell you that there is not even a single parent of a 2-year-old who's telling me that my child is never tantruming. So, if I were to write like a guidebook on how to deal with a tantrum, I'd probably have like 4 to 5 points in it, and that will be it. But if you back that up with a little bit of brain science, with a little bit of understanding your child better, trust me, those 5 to 6 steps will seem so obvious to you that you won't need a guidebook. So, before I actually dive into how the steps of dealing with a tantrum, I want to take a little bit of time and talk to you about the brain, which basically controls everything, and how the child's brain is different than adult's brain and how that impacts their behavior. So, I'll not make it very technical, I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. Now, let's say you have a human brain and you divide it into two. You'll get a left brain and a right brain. The left brain of a human being is responsible for understanding logic. It's responsible for understanding order, time, language, sequencing. So, all those kind of things are handled by the left brain. And the right brain is more emotional, it's more sensitive. It understands your body language as opposed to your words, it understands the tone in which you're talking. It is more creative. It's basically the non-verbal part of the brain. Right brain communicates through expressions, through eye contact, through your body language, like I said. Now the thing is that during the first 3 years of their lives, approximately, children are right brain dominant. They understand emotions over logic. They understand your non-verbal communication over your words. They'll understand the tone of your voice, your body language over what you're trying to tell them with words. So if you are really angry and agitated in your body, no matter how sweetly you try to talk to them, they will not understand it because they can sense your body. They can sense how agitated and anxious your body is. Now, since children are right brain dominant, they actually cannot use words to express their emotions. They use their body to express their emotions. Hence, the meltdowns that you see sometimes are so huge. They're throwing themselves on the floor. They are like crying on the top of their voice, screaming, because at that point, in the middle of an emotional turmoil that their body is going through, their left brain actually completely shuts off. The only thing that's working is the right brain. So at that point, they really don't have the power to use their words to express what they're feeling. And at the same time, they will not understand whatever words you throw at them at that point. They will only understand your body. If your body is agitated, if your body is anxious and angry, then they in turn are going to get more anxious and angry. However, if your body is calm, if your body is composed, that's going to eventually reflect in them and they will mirror that emotion and they will also get calm and composed. So, this is a very, very important thing to know whenever you're dealing with a toddler, that they are not understanding logic at this age. Now, when around 3 years, 2.5, 3 years of age, when they start asking the why questions, that's when your toddler's left brain starts to kick in and it starts to develop at a faster rate. Now, I'm not saying that post that tantrums will go away, they will, stop having meltdowns. No, I'm just saying that that's when it's easier for them to understand logic. That's when their left brain is starting to develop. But does this mean that no matter what you do, your child will never understand logic? No. In order for them to activate their left brain in the time of an emotional turmoil or a meltdown, we need to first address the needs of their right brain. We need to first address their emotional needs. Only then the gateway to the left brain opens up and you are able to talk a little bit of sense into them. If we've talked about this very simple concept, let's also try to understand what is a tantrum, right? A tantrum is nothing but the way a child is expressing their emotions, right? A tantrum is nothing but emotions. They're feeling angry, they're feeling sad, they're going to tantrum. Even adults have tantrums for that matter. If an adult feels bad or sad about something, we have different ways to respond to it, right? Some people might shout, some people might get angry, might break things. It happens. Some people might completely shut off, stop talking to you, give you the silent treatment. That itself is an adult tantrum. So, tantrums are nothing but emotions. The only problem is that because children don't know how to regulate their emotions, their left brain is not developed yet, they express whatever they're feeling as is. There is no filter. So, whatever they're feeling in their brain comes out in their body as is. So, if they're extremely angry, if they're extremely sad, they're going to cry their heart out. That's just how they express emotions. Now, we're talking about negative feelings here, even the positive feelings. If a child is extremely happy, extremely ecstatic, you would have seen that they'll start jumping, they'll start running around because they can't contain their excitement. So, similarly, how when they're upset, they can't control their body. Even when they're happy, they can't control their body. Even when they're excited, you might see some children start jumping on the sofa, jumping on the bed because they're just so happy, they're so excited. They don't know how to contain that happiness, right? So, that's just how they are expressing their emotions. Now, we as adults usually don't have a problem when they're expressing happy emotions, when they're shouting, when they're exciting, when they're jumping. But us as adults are usually very uncomfortable with the crying, the anger, the shouting, throwing themselves on the floor because those are negative emotions. Now, if you see children are behaving the same way when they're happy or they're sad, there is no filter. Their emotions are coming out in their body as is. The problem is that us adults are not able to take the negative emotions, and the negative emotions make us anxious, but the positive emotions don't. So we're okay with the positive, but we're not okay with the negative. So, who needs to fix their approach here? Do we need the child to stop tantruming, or do we need us to understand their tantrums and be okay with the crying? Now that we have this little bit of understanding about tantrums, what are they, about how the child's brain works, I think we can talk about how to deal with the tantrum. There are four simple steps. First step is to be calm. Easier said than done. I know. I deal with it every day. I have a 2-year-old myself. Uh, but like I said in the beginning, children understand your body language more than they understand words when they're having a meltdown. So if your body is calm, only then you will be able to get through to them. If you're only anxious, if you're only like angry, the child is going to be like, oh my god, what's happening? I am going through the biggest crisis of my life, and my parent, my favorite person in the world, is also going through a crisis. They're also getting angry at me, they're also shouting at me. So when your child is going through a tantrum, they need you to be calm, they need you to be their calm center. Only then can we expect them to eventually get calm and understand what's going on. So, first step is to stay calm through it. And honestly, knowing all of these things, knowing the brain science behind it, knowing what tantrums actually are, really helps in staying calm. Like, at least it's helped me personally, because I know that this is nothing but an emotion. I am getting uncomfortable with crying because it's a trigger for me. It is my problem. It is not my child's fault that they're having a tantrum. They're just expressing their emotions. So, knowing this, having this knowledge really helps me stay calm personally. So, yeah, first step, stay calm. Second step, validate their emotions. The best way to reach their right brain is to validate their emotions. Whatever they're feeling, no matter how stupid you think it is as an adult, it is a very big deal for them. I'll give you a very simple example. The other day, Kian wanted a banana. I picked up a banana, I peeled it, and I gave it to him. We had a meltdown. Why? Because he wanted the whole banana and he wanted to peel it himself. Now for me, it is like, yaar, kya farak padta hai? Banana hai na, kha lo. But for them, this is their entire world. This is like their world has fallen apart. It is a big deal for them. So the first step is to always validate the emotion that they're feeling. Name the emotion. Oh, you're feeling very angry that mama peeled the banana. You wanted to peel it on your own. Just saying this much really helps Kian. He feels hurt. He feels that, yeah, whatever I'm feeling is valid. It's not something out of this world. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. Two very important things to remember here is that first, you need to really be empathetic. You really need to feel that, yes, I understand, bacha, what you're going through. It's not fair, it's not okay, and it's perfectly fine for you to feel this way. If this is not genuinely coming out of you, then they will catch it and it will not work. So it needs to be genuine. The empathy needs to be there. Second, don't use logic. Don't use logic. It's going to do no good. It's going to only make things worse. You like they don't care. You thought that if you peel the banana, it will help them eat it faster. They don't care. Kian wanted to peel the banana, and that's all he cares about. No logic is needed at this point. Just validate their emotions. It actually helps a lot. Another thing that you want to do here when you're validating their feelings is to make sure that you're on their level, bend down to their level, because kids are really small and we're really big, so for them we're like this huge thing that they're seeing, and whatever we're telling them standing on top of them might be very intimidating for them. So especially at such times when they're going through a meltdown, it's best that you kneel down to their level, to their eye level, so that you can actually see them eye to eye and they don't feel intimidated by you. Now validating the feelings is very important, which was step number 2. Step number 3, do not give in. Now, this is not valid for the banana example. Do not give in. I mean that a lot of times children have tantrums when we say no to them for something. Now, for example, the other day Kian wanted to have like a laddu right before lunch. Now, lunch was just 5 minutes away, we were just making rotis and it would have been ready in 5 minutes. So I told him, no, we don't have laddus before lunch. I'll give it to you in the evening snack. Of course, there was a meltdown. He had this huge blown meltdown. He was hungry, so that was the reason. He was really hungry. But at the same time, I knew that I couldn't give him a laddu at that point because it would have completely thrown off lunch. This day's schedule would have gone for a toss. And of course, I wanted to set that boundary, right? That when it's lunchtime, you have lunch, you don't have anything else, especially not a sweet. He wanted a laddu. I said no. Huge meltdown. I did the first two things. I stayed calm through it. I was expecting a meltdown when I said no. I knew he was going to cry about it because he wanted something and he didn't get it, right? So I stayed calm. I validated his feeling. I told him, yeah, I understand you want the laddu right now. I also really love laddus. Let's have it together in evening snack. Right now it's time for lunch. He calmed down for 1 second when I said it, but again, he continued to cry. Now, this is the point where I could have given in just to stop the crying. I could have been like, okay, fine, have the laddu. Of course, giving him the laddu would have stopped the crying. But then that's step number 3 of handling a tantrum. Do not give in. Your boundaries need to stay consistent. If you give in to a tantrum when they're crying, they're going to get the message that I can cry to get what I want. So that actually stops the crying in that moment, but in the long term, it does more harm than good. It's really important for children to understand that no amount of crying is going to get them what they want once their parent has said no. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying that, doing this is very easy and it's a breeze. Everyone has it under control. No, it's not easy. It's really triggering for me also. I've had times when Kian has had a tantrum for like half an hour. Half an hour, he has cried for something. But honestly, once I've said no to something, and if he's starting to cry, I really don't change my no to a yes ever. Because again, it sends the message that mama's no actually doesn't mean anything. If she says no, I just have to cry for some time. I'll get what I want. And I've actually seen this, like talking to a lot of parents, I've seen that when parents are giving into tantrums a lot, that's when tantrums increase also. Because when you say no to your child, they know that crying will get it to them. First time they'll cry for 5 minutes, you'll give them. Second time they'll cry for 10 minutes and you'll give them what they want. Third time, maybe they'll cry for 30 minutes and they'll eventually get what they want. So you'll notice that when this is happening, the tantrums are increasing because they'll start crying for every small thing. You've not even said no yet and they'll start crying because they think that crying is how they get things. That's why during a tantrum, it's very important that you don't give in. You just let the tantrum pass. You just let it pass. See, tantrums are nothing but emotions, right? Emotions will eventually pass. Even as adults, if we feel bad about something, we'll cry it out, we'll do something about it. And eventually, in half an hour, in 1 hour, or maybe by the end of the day, we feel better about it. We have a wave of sadness and then we feel better. Similarly, for children, they have a wave of emotion, they have a wave of anger or sadness. Eventually, it will pass. They will stop crying. If a child is already in a habit of getting what they want by crying, that is, if we have been giving in to tantrums for a very long time, then obviously, if you stop doing it, the initial few days will be hard because they'll be crying a lot, because they think that crying gets them what they want. So to break this habit, it's going to be hard, but yeah, we'll get there. Right now, the situation in my house is that yes, Kian does have tantrums. He does cry for things that he wants, but because I have always been very consistent with my no's, when I say no to something, it means no. I've actually seen that the tantrum duration has reduced because he knows रोने से कुछ नहीं होना है, so what's the point, let it be, move on. मम्मी ने नो बोल दिया मतलब नो है. So that level of understanding needs to be there, and it takes time to develop it. It doesn't happen, in 1 day or 2 days. It takes a lot of time to develop this kind of a conditioning, but it really helps. So far we have said step number one, be calm. Step number two, validate their emotions with a lot of empathy, no logic at this point. Number three, do not give in. Firm and consistent boundaries are very important for children. Number four, let it pass. It will pass. Just let it pass. Let them have their emotion. Let them take it out. Let them cry it out. It's just an emotion. One more thing I want to add here. Throughout this process, the step number one, that is be calm, needs to be consistent. As the crying increases, as the duration of the tantrum increases, it's very normal for us adults to feel anxious, to feel a little bit of anger, irritation coming in. कि यार ये चुप क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Why isn't he understanding? Take a break. Just step out of the room for a minute, do some deep breathing, come back in. But it's very important that we stay calm through this process, because if we get angry, like I've said before, if we get agitated, then it makes it worse. Children mirror us, children mirror our emotions. Our calm is going to pass on through to your child's body as well. Our agitation is also going to pass on through their body. Another thing that we can do for older children is that we can talk about this tantrum at a later point, at a point when this is over. Let's say there was some issue, some tantrum that happened in the morning. Now, maybe at bedtime, when you are spending some one on one time with your child, you're doing their bedtime routine, they are feeling more connected to you, you can probably bring that topic up in a very gentle, in a very calm way, in a very by the way, not in a very confrontational way, in just like, in conversation that, oh, this happened, why do you think this happened, what do you think could have been, done better. Just have a conversation about it. This will work for slightly older children, probably not for 1 year old, 1.5 year old, but for slightly older children. And in this conversation, also tell them, give them some coping mechanisms. Next time you feel angry, maybe you can try taking some deep breaths. Next time you feel angry, maybe you can try just holding mama's hand. Mama is there with you. So giving them this kind of information in a separate setting, in a more connected way, will help them over time understand how they can deal with these difficult emotions in a positive way. Along with handling their tantrum in a calm and gentle way, at a later point, we're also giving them coping mechanisms that they can use in the future. Again, doing this for one time, two times is not going to magically reduce, remove tantrums, but definitely over time, if you're consistently doing this, they will understand it and you will see a change in them. Now, Kian is also pretty young for this right now. He's only 2. I've been doing this one thing with him, that whenever he's feeling a little agitated, or whenever he's feeling a little anxious or irritated, or he's like hitting things or biting things, not having a tantrum per se, but just like has a lot of energy, I just hold his arms and I tell him, Kian, let's breathe. And I model deep breathing with him. I hold his hands and I do this. Now I've been doing this for a good 6 months. And now, whenever I say, Kian, breathe, he only starts breathing. He knows what deep breathing is. He might not be able to effectively do it yet, but it's a start. And as he grows up, of course, I plan to teach him more coping mechanism. But this is just something that I've started and I've actually seen helps him, and he gets it. That's what important. We feel that 2-year-old, 3-year-old won't understand what deep breathing is, won't understand how to calm down in such situations. But if we are teaching them consistently, it really helps. That was more or less it about handling a tantrum. I want to leave you with this one last thing. Tantrums are symptoms. Children usually communicate with their behavior because their language is still developing. They don't have the right words to tell you exactly what's going on in their minds, in their hearts. Hell, adults are not able to do it, right? So children especially communicate through their behavior. If you see that there's suddenly a lot of tantrums happening, just see what's going on around their child. Have they been sleep deprived? Has there been a big change in the house? Maybe arrival of a new sibling, maybe shifting cities, maybe grandparents moving out, maybe there's been a lot of travel, maybe one of the parents has started going to office suddenly where they used to be home otherwise. What is happening around their environment? Right? It's very important to understand that tantrums are just the tip of the iceberg. There's always an unmet need or feeling that a child has, because of which the tantrums are increasing. Something as simple as being sleep deprived or being hungry can cause a tantrum. I've seen that right after Kian wakes up from a nap till the time he has his lunch, he's always having more tantrums because he's just hungry. At that time, everything is a no, everything is like a big deal. Even like the smallest mistake that I can make, I won't even call it a mistake, but a mistake according to him is going to lead to a full blown meltdown. So something as simple as hunger, something as simple as less sleep can cause a lot of tantrum. I'm going to put like a picture here. Pause this video, just have a look at it. See that, is there anything that's going on with your child? Is there anything that you've missed? So a lot of times reflecting over your child's day or the past few days really helps in understanding what's going on, because tantrums are just emotions, and when tantrums increase, when emotions increase, usually there is some unmet need or feeling that the child has, because of which the tantrums have increased. So that's about it for today's video. I really hope this was helpful for you. If you want me to cover more such videos on positive parenting topics, please do comment below. I'll try to cover more and more of these things in my upcoming videos. Do like this video, comment on this video, share it with your friends who need this, because trust me, this is a very important topic. And learning how to deal with your child's tantrum in a more gentler and a calmer way really improves the connection that you have with your child, and their overall growth and development, their brain development is really impacted by how we are dealing with our emotions. So do like, share, comment so it reaches more people, and do subscribe to my channel for more such content. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.